What's up, brothers? Hope everyone's doing well out there. So in today's video, I wanted to talk to you guys about why women often resent high-value men that are the total package. And I wanted to talk about this subject because this is something that a lot of guys struggle with. You know, a lot of guys sort of tailor their daily routines and their self-improvement routines around what they think women will be attracted to. You know, so what drives them to make money, or what drives them to build their physique, or to buy material things, or even educate themselves, is the fact that they want to be attractive in the eyes of women. They want women to notice them. But a lot of times when they get there, they quickly discover that women like to throw shade at high-value men. You know, women like to take shots at alpha males, knock them off their pedestal. If you're a guy that, you know, you've put the work in, you're the total package, you're a hell of a catch, and women look at you. You know, you walk through the mall and women check you out. You walk through the office and, you know, women are all giving you googly eyes. But yet, you approach them, you talk to them, you try to get a relationship with them, and they kind of run from you. They're not really into you. And a lot of times, they'll end up selecting some guy that he seems to be below you in looks, money, status, and all of that. He might not even be as charismatic as you. And you're like, well, what in the hell? This makes absolutely no sense. Right? It's mind-boggling. But this happens because a lot of these high-value guys, you know, a lot of guys that really put effort into being considered alpha males, they're usually missing the most important aspect of appealing to female nature. And this is actually taught by a lot of dating coaches and a lot of, like, I don't know, like masculinity gurus. This is taught for them to, like, incorporate this, which is to never show vulnerability to women, never express your problems with women, never express your struggles to women. And what happens is, instead of, I'll put it like this, a lot of the dating advice that came out in the last 10 years was basically meant to pull you away from the Disney fantasy, right? Like, this isn't Beauty and the Beast. It's not Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It's not Cinderella. You know, women don't just naturally fall in love with nice guys, right? And there's a lot of truth there. But now it's shifted to like this Superman superhero fantasy, where you're this like indestructible, high-value Superman with no struggles and no problems. And when you become that, women will just be your lowest lane. Right? So it's a different version of the blue pill, but it's the same thing. And this is kind of the high-value man dating advice. Anyways, the element that you're missing, as I was saying, was that vulnerability, that willingness to show problems or show your struggles. And I know a lot of you guys hear that and you're like, no, that's beta, I don't want to do that. But hear me out. Check this out. You know, you have to be confident enough to do this and strategical enough to do this. And really it should come naturally, but you're probably just blocking it out because you've been told to. But a woman needs to look at you. Sure, she should be sexually attracted to you, physically attracted to you. She should respect and admire you, all those things. But when you're struggling, for example, let's say you've sprained your ankle. Right, the hell is that flying around the lens? You know, let's say you've went to the gym and you've pulled a muscle in your leg, or you've sprained an ankle, or you got in a car accident, or you woke up today and you're sick. A woman should look at you and be like, oh, I want to take care of you. Like, she has to see your vulnerability and see your problems. And there needs to be this element of female nature that's being appealed to that makes her want to nurture. You know what I'm saying? Without this element, she'll eventually cheat on you and leave you. Because women need this. You know, I'm not sure if it's the estrogen or if it's just the way they're built psychologically, but if you don't appeal to this side of female nature at all, they'll find someone who does. So, you know, let's say you've sprained your ankle. She needs to look at you and be like, oh, and want to take care of your ankle. I'm dead serious. Like, you can be this hard-ass, badass, you know, UFC fighting, military guy, multi-millionaire, and you've sprained your ankle. She wants to be, like, on the couch nursing your ankle. Right? And this comes from the element of relatability. Right? Relatability strikes up empathy. If she feels like she relates to you, she's going to empathize with you. And this is going to bring out more oxytocin, more connection on her side, more desire to be with you, more desire to invest in you. And if you don't feed her that, she'll be starved and she'll look for it somewhere else. You know, I don't know why no guys want to talk about the nicer sides of female nature. They always want to talk about the bad sides, the disadvantages, but they don't want to talk about the advantages. You know, one thing I should explain though is it's probably not best to consider things like car problems and money problems as vulnerabilities, because those are traditionally masculine problems that women would expect you to take care of anyways. We're talking basic things. You know, if you're a single guy and you're in a dating app and you're texting a woman, you're trying to set up a date, I'm telling you, it's not really a bad first or second message. If she's like, you know, if you're just, hey, what's up? You know, how are you or whatever. And if you respond with something like, oh man, I pulled a hamstring at the gym today. I'm limping around like a gimp. This will stimulate part of her. I mean, if she's attracted to you and she kind of likes you, it will amplify that so much. You know, she'll be like, oh, and she'll be like wanting to see you because of that. It's a certain appeal to female psychology. And it's a bond that, you know, it's one of those things that when you have that element, further down the line, as she sees your flaws, you know, you're a high value man with flaws, she feels more deeply connected with you. But, you know, let's say you send a message and you're freaking Superman and like you have no problems and you don't express any vulnerability. You don't appeal to that element. It's not there. It's almost like if you were the boss of a company and you're training an employee. These guys that say never express your problems or vulnerabilities to a woman, they're like the boss of the company that says, never put a trainee in a high pressure situation. We don't want to scare them off. You know, we don't want the trainee to feel like the job sucks. You know, we want the trainee to think this is the perfect job. So don't put them in any high pressure situations. That'd be a terrible boss. A good boss will say, go ahead and put them in a high pressure situation. Let's see what they're made of. Let's see if they're a good fit for this company. And it's the same thing when you show vulnerability to a woman. Doesn't mean you're weak. Literally every human being has struggles and has problems. You know, as long as you're confident enough to discuss them, you can pull it off. So, you know, bring up a slight problem. Yeah, I woke up today feeling kind of sick. Oh, I can bring you some medicine or some soup. You know, whatever. I'm serious. You appeal to this element of female nature, then you're building a foundation that can last a long time. without this appeal, I would say if you're trying to establish a friend with benefits, a woman that has no emotional connection to you, maybe she's married in an open marriage and looking for sex on the side, you know, be that Superman, be that Ubermensch, high value alpha male that she can come over and just get sex from, because that's the correct way to move in that situation. But if you want a relationship, you have to find out how willing she is to invest in you, because that investment is what makes her fall in love. You know, that's what brings out that oxytocin, caring for you. You ever seen a woman hold a baby? You know how they all have this, I don't know, it just brings out this dopamine and oxytocin, and you can see them melt. You know, one of their friends had a baby and they get to hold the baby, and, you know, it does this thing to them psychologically. It brings out this nurturing, motherly, you know, side. And there's also an element of that in a relationship. And by the way, this is also why women are attracted to bad boys, men in prison, military guys, pro fighters. You know, a lot of these guys, if you're like if you're in prison, you know, you've kind of lost your ability to make a living. When you get out, you know, you're sort of psychologically, you've been affected in a certain way where you're like missing a piece, like you're missing something. And she can kind of nurture you and take care of you. And women love to do that. I don't know why. And the bad boy seems like he's a guy that just needs to be fixed. She can nurture him. You know, he has these vulnerabilities mixed with these inconsistencies, but has potential, right? So he kind of has that element of like he's a high value man, but he just has some problems. And this appeals to a certain part of the female psyche. You know, the military guy, is he even going to make it home? You know, he's shipped off to another country. She's thinking about every day, is he going to make it? Is he injured? Is he hurt? Right? And it appeals to a certain side of their nature. Now, like I said, you can do this strategically in the early stages on Tinder. Yeah, I sprained my ankle. I'm gimping around. Find out what her response is. If her response is something like, oh, well, hit me up when you're feeling better, I think she's being clear about what she's looking for. She's looking for a guy that she can use, not a guy she can build with. So, and this is where guys get it wrong. A lot of high-value alpha guys are actually secretly betas when it comes to conducting themselves in relationships, because they think they're always supposed to be the Superman that provides for her. They don't think that a woman is also supposed to do things for you as well. You know, keep that in mind. But like I said, you know, you tell her, you know, I pulled a hamstring. Find out what her response is. I'm dead serious. I say damn near every woman I've ever been with has loved it when you give them something that they can shine in. You put them in a situation where they can shine and express their femininity in that sort of a way. I remember one time my air conditioner went out, and you know, the whole system had to be replaced. I just started seeing a new girl, and she set up this whole plan to go out, and, you know, she and I are going to go get in the water. She's like, well, we need to get you into some water. You know, sets up this whole day out on the water. Like, she just wanted to get me away from the heat. I don't know. It's strange, but that's the way they are. I remember when I had first met my ex of 9 years, I had a court case. Nothing too major, just a little situation where I had fled a scene that wouldn't have been that big of a deal, but tried to make my getaway, and license plates were red. Ended up having to go to court for it. Wasn't sure if I was going to go to jail or not, but I remember sitting in the car. She took me to the courtroom, and we're sitting in the car, and she's just holding me, kissing me, all damn near wanting to hold my head against her chest and take care of me. That's because I was in a struggle situation, a very vulnerable situation, and she wanted to step up and take care of me. But again, you know, if you're one of these guys that says, I don't want to participate in any of that because I'm afraid that I'll look beta if I do. Well, listen, if you're afraid of looking beta, I think there's probably an underlying issue there. You know, there's probably a reason why you're afraid of looking beta. You know, it's like afraid of looking overweight. If you're afraid of looking overweight, you might be overweight. You know, get your stuff in order and be confident enough to be yourself and express yourself in a normal way. All right, guys. I guess the key takeaway here is throw her something. When you first met her, throw her something. Don't let your struggle be financial or mechanical, because those are material, traditionally masculine situations that it's probably not going to stimulate her. It's probably going to make her feel like you're helpless. But give her something like, you know, sprained ankle, I'm feeling sick, something of that nature. Find out how she responds. Does she jump all over you to take care of you? Or does she brush you off to the side? Because if she brushes you off to the side, that means she just wants to use you. But if she jumps up real quick to take care of you, that means she likes you a lot, and she sees this as an opportunity for her to pounce and make her move and lock you in. Make you hers. All right, guys. Hope this video was somewhat informative, and that's about it for today. Until next time, see ya.